Should we try this together at the same time?
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's good. No, I don't like it.
She's sour. That's good. Raise your voice.
Preach. No, we're not bringing up Sylvia Plath in this one. Sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
Can we talk about Paul Mescal?
You can watch TikToks of him later.
Oh my God, okay.
But
no, don't. No, like do. Get heated. Get heated.
Keep calling. I'm not a morning person. I'm a gnat. I'm Nat. Hi, Nat. You're gonna see me go blink at one point because I had like a thought, and then I was just like, "This is a really good analogy."
Stars in my eye. Can I talk about the arm flailer? He won't know that.
Get me that sushi.
Hello.
Is there a hair in here?
Do you want to split?
Oh my gosh, this summer I turned pretty. I need to touch grass.
Why?
Because I get so involved in these shows.
No, I was screaming at the TV.
Okay, service. My favorite sound. I love Conrad
No, you're
Fisher.
gonna cry. Anyone who hasn't watched the new episode, please go watch it. Or anyone who hasn't watched The Summer I Turned Pretty, please go watch it.
Quick little warning, we are talking about The Summer I Turned Pretty, so if you don't want any spoilers, just skip to the 3-minute mark.
No, but on that note, let's talk about dating standards because Team Jeremiah doesn't exist.
Not in our world. We're Team Conrad all the way.
Whoever likes Jeremiah, I'm sorry. Why? Like, honestly?
I need someone to explain it to me because I actually can't. Like, I've tried to understand that side.
Yeah.
And I can't even see it.
No, because why wouldn't you want a man that takes care of you, takes care of himself, is mature, has a great job, like knows everything about you, and like literally put his own feelings aside so you could date his brother? Belly pisses me off. I literally made a TikTok about this because she says, like, the way she's acting with Conrad is like they never were intimate at all and never dated or anything. And it's like, how do you act like this with the love of, well, someone who you really loved and who you dated first, and you're like marrying his brother? Like, how are you acting? Like, why is Conrad mad that we're getting married? Like, are you stupid?
I don't understand.
The summer I turned stupid.
To me, she's settling with Jeremiah. Conrad pissed her off. They had their moment. He was going through it, which also the mother had passed. Like, let him go through it.
Let him go through it.
And you jump to Jeremiah and you're like, I have to be there for him. Like, I promised that I would be there for him after Susanna died. What about Conrad?
Yeah,
You treated him like shit and acting like he was never a part of your life.
Who is there for Connie, baby?
Conrad listens. He pays attention.
I know.
He knows her favorite candy. Jeremiah doesn't know, like, left from right.
Literally. But that brings us to
Standards,
which is literally the whole point of this episode. I want Steph to kick it off because I'm in a relationship.
You still have standards.
I have standards, but I feel like we want the single girl to talk about this right now because I feel, what was that?
Sorry, that was my...
Oh my God, I thought my mic exploded. Anyway, no, because I feel like for all the single girlies unite, what does standards mean to you? Like, what are your standards?
When it comes to standards, you should have a checklist of what you want in a person, but then also your non-negotiables. Yeah. And I mean, it depends what that is, but I think your non-negotiables should really, like, you need to look into yourself and think of what you want in somebody. And we talked about in our last, or a couple episodes ago, about love languages and reflecting on how you want to be loved and how you want to be seen that way. So really figuring out yourself and what you need from somebody, and then creating those non-negotiables when you're looking for a partner to live your life with. Because, I mean, if you're dating just to have fun, then pop off, date to have fun.
Date whoever.
But if you're dating to marry, relationships aren't easy. Like, relationships, there's always going to be ups and downs. There's trials and tribulations and all that. You need to be able to look at somebody and say, this is exactly who I need in somebody. And maybe they're not perfect. They're going to irritate you. They're going to annoy you. Nobody is going to be perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
But they can be perfect for you.
Exactly. It's easier said than done because I feel like people who come out of relationships after a long ass relationship that they've been in, whether it was toxic or healthy or whatever it may be, they've learned something from that relationship and their standards are either way higher or way lower. And it's because it's a negative or positive impact that a person made in your life, right? And it's up to you now to dictate that you are the fucking standard. Like, you know what I'm saying? And if you're not proud of yourself, then you're not the fucking standard. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you want to find someone like you. For instance, you were in a relationship, whatever, for a long time. it's like now you know and you've learned from that relationship what you want in a man. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't find your standard if you don't know what that is. Like if you've never experienced being in a relationship with someone, because being single and saying, it's so easy to say like, I want this kind of person. I want this kind of person. People don't grow on trees. You can't pick and choose. People will always have flaws. And I think if you're single for a really long time and you're like, you haven't been with someone, it's so, how do I say this? It's so much easier to say that when you don't actually like live with someone or you're not dating someone all the time, because you're adapting someone else's personality, and you have to have a little bit of wiggle room in your standard. Like if someone is going through something and you're like, okay, well maybe I would have never put up with this because like this isn't the relationship I agreed to be in. Okay, but then you're just kind of a prick, because it's like now someone is just being human and showing you that like they're just human beings, and like you can't, that's not about standard, that's about understanding someone. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I think like, for instance, like I'm thinking about like a date. While back, Steph went on a date with someone who flailed his arms a lot. And like, now that's just who he is. Maybe he talks like this. You know what you know what I mean? When you're at a restaurant, etiquette, I guess, but like also maybe that's just who he is, right? Maybe his friends are like, you're the arm flailer, you know? But it's like, that just doesn't work for you. You don't want an arm flailer. There's nothing wrong with the person, but your standard is not an arm flailer. Like, you know what I mean?
On top of that, there also is, and this is a fault of my own, and you've said it, where somebody will chew a weird way and I just write them off because oh no, that person's not for me. They did this wrong thing. And that's where I need to be clear on my wants and my needs and see past, because I'm not perfect. I'm sure there's things on the dates that I do where somebody's like, ew, why would she pick up her fork? Honestly, people probably don't notice because I don't know why I notice. But those are things where, I do need to let go a little bit.
Well, that's the thing too. I think whenever I know this as well, I was single for a really long time, like before this relationship, because I'd gotten, so the person I'm with now is the person I dated a long time ago. And in between this person and I was single, like single. I was, I had like other people here and there, but I was fucking single. Like, you know what I mean? And I had like through the roof astronomical, like I can't even explain like standards of people. And that's why I never dated, because like I would like see people, but like I never dated anyone because I was like, you're not what I want. And it's like every little thing they did, I was like, I can't see myself with this person. And like I would shut it down immediately before it even went anywhere, because my standards were like through the roof, right? But whenever you're dating, you have to see someone as a human being as well, but you can't lower your standards. That's the thing. That's the hard part that I feel like a lot of people lose sight of, because it's like, okay, I realize you're a human being. You're gonna piss me off, but how do I get over this hump of icks?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And look at their characteristics and their internal qualities and how they live their life, but don't just look at what they have in that moment. So, for example, if you're a hustler and you want somebody who's also a hustler, just because somebody isn't there yet and isn't making six figures doesn't mean that they can't get there or they don't have the potential to get there.
Yeah.
If that's what you're looking for somebody to match your energy, you're making so much and you're hustling and you're working hard and you want somebody to also be in the business world, look at somebody who's working on getting there. Yeah. And if you can see that they say they want to be there, but they're not doing anything to get there, you can't fall in love with the potential of somebody.
Exactly.
You have to be able to actually see some sort of qualities in them that will get them there. You can still fall in love with the potential, but you have to make sure that they have that resume built to get there.
Yeah. If you already know that your relationship isn't what you want, deep down inside of you, you know that like maybe you're in a better place than your partner, or you've just been having these constant fights all the time and whatever. If you already know that, everyone else probably knows that. You know what I mean? And we saw a quote on TikTok that was like, it's better to leave now and like go through that pain than get married and have everyone pity you.
Absolutely.
And that is so hard, like, because obviously like sometimes you're in a relationship with someone who's a good person and you grew apart. And it's like, if you're up here and like, say like you were dating someone and you were like childhood sweethearts or whatever, like high school sweethearts, and that person was like working just like a 9 to 5, but you were like a millionaire hustler, like whatever, and he was just kind of like okay with the simple life. And there's nothing wrong with a simple life. I just need to put that out there. But in terms of me and Steph, like we're talking about our standards here, it's like you want a hustler. You want someone who's like doing the damn thing, right? And it's like people don't think about it. Being a good person, but not motivating the other person and just kind of staying stagnant and falling into routine and being comfortable is actually so detrimental to a relationship, because if you're not constantly dating that person and improving your partner and being a motivator and being able to like have someone lean on you, it's not going to work. And I think that's the hardest part about this kind of era is like sometimes you meet someone who's really good and ticks off the boxes on paper, but when it comes to who they are to their core fundamentally, if you don't line up, you can't lower your standards for someone else. You know what I mean?
And especially, I mean, again, like you said earlier, there's a difference between lowering your standards and your quality of relationship and just being there for somebody and being a human being.
Yeah.
People are going to mess up. We're all humans. Somebody's going to irritate you, piss you off, go through a difficult time. And that goes back to that quote about 70-30.
Yeah.
You can't both give 100% all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes your partner's going to be able to give you 70% when you can only give 30, and sometimes roles are reversed, but those need to move and fluctuate based on who can give what at that moment, but you both need to be giving to each other.
Exactly. And I think when we talk about standards as well, I think a standard for me is being able to walk side by side with my partner and feeling proud, like astronomically proud of my partner, because I wake up and I'm proud of myself because I know that I have worked really hard to get here. You've worked really hard to get here. And why would you want to be embarrassed walking beside someone who doesn't even realize their own potential and like act on it, even though they can? And again, we're not saying entrepreneurship, that's hard. Like being your own boss it's hard. A lot of people don't understand that. And it takes a specific kind of person, I think. You can always become that person. And it's just about your will to do that, right? And for people like you and me, it's clear as day. Like say you have someone who's like, okay, I'm going to take a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life, slaving, you know, never upping my salary, like whatever, but I'll be comfortable. You hustle a little bit and you become a millionaire and you just keep becoming, like going to all the places you wanted to go to, meeting all of these people who improve your life. It's like a gold bar and a brass coin. Realistically, if I put those two options in front of you, anyone would pick this, right? But people don't want to put in the work to do that. And if you're one of those people that is the gold bar, why would you settle for a brass coin?
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter if maybe it can pay for things, but it doesn't have nearly the amount of weight. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, that is the standard. That is the standard that people like me and you, and I think anyone who's ambitious would want someone like that, right?
Being a hustler and an entrepreneur and trying to get into that business world, already for me, I find it difficult because the path isn't easy. I find it difficult to wake myself up in the morning. I'm a night owl through and through.
Yeah.
Waking up in the morning does not come easy to me. I love my sleep. I track it on my Fitbit. I get like 8 hours deep sleep. I could sleep for 24 hours straight.
Hold on to your point because I want to add to that. It's crazy though, because I think this demonstrates exactly the kind of person you are. I would never be able to tell that you're not a morning person.
Really?
Yeah. I would never, like, I am so strongly not a night person. Everyone knows that. I go to bed at 8. I complain about night. I complain about the afternoons. I am someone that you will look at me because of my actions and you're like, yeah, she's really not a night person. She does not want to be out late. You always say like, I am not a morning person. Like I hate it. Like whatever. Like in some ways I can see that. Like if like an intimate friend could see that because like I'll call you and you'll literally hang up on me. But it's like,
I'm going back to bed.
But if someone was at the gym at 5:45 and like that day or whatever the days, because I'm a fucking morning person through and through. Like I'm literally sunshine and rainbows in the morning. It's annoying. But like I bring you to the gym in the morning and you bring yourself to the gym in the morning. 5:45, someone average would like look at you and be like, oh, they're a morning person, because like you don't show it. Like, and that shows the kind of person you are. You put in the work. Like,
well, see, that's my point is am not a morning person, but I wake myself up to go to the gym because I know that that's a goal of mine to get my fitness on track. I come home. I hate eggs. I eat eggs every single day for breakfast.
Oh my God, that's eggs.
Inside joke. I mean,
oh my God, Mar, that's eggs.
Just read between the lines.
Okay, go on. Okay, go on. Focus.
But also, like with work, I have the flexibility to stay home and work from home if I really want to. But half the time, I get dressed, I do my makeup, my hair, and I take myself to one of my offices. Or if I do work from home, I actually am working. I'm not staying in bed all day. Any goal I have, I put in the effort to do it. And it's not easy. I put in the work. Mm-hmm. And the people I surround myself with also put in the work.
Yeah.
And in the mornings, I know that I struggle in the morning, but I always make plans to go to the gym with you or my mom.
Yeah.
Because I know that trying to get myself there in the morning on my own is difficult. Yeah. And I still do it on some days, but for the majority of the time, I make a plan with you or my mom because I won't cancel on you guys unless I'm really waking up feeling ill.
Yeah.
And in that case scenario, I don't necessarily need a partner who's also going to wake up at 6 a.m. and go to the gym with me, but I can't date somebody who's going to wake up at 12.
No.
There's an in-between. I have that standard where it's like I'm already struggling to do these things because they're not easy, but I force myself. So the last thing I need is somebody to come into my life and influence me to stay in bed longer or influence me to, just take today off. Like you worked hard yesterday or you don't need to go to the gym or just eat that sweet treat constantly. Yeah. And I don't need somebody nitpicking me either, telling me if I do want to have a sweet treat that I can't eat it. Mm-hmm. But I need somebody who's going to give me those healthy alternatives and help me out and also be on that same journey as me where there's going to be mornings where I'll drag them to the gym.
Yeah.
Or if I'm not feeling good, they drag me to the gym. And I've said it to you before too, where if you go to the gym in the morning and let's say your partner stays home, they might feel like shit a little bit and think, oh, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym tomorrow because I didn't make it today. And same with you. If your partner goes to the gym in the morning and you stayed home, the last thing you want to do is skip tomorrow because then you would be skipping 2 days when they're going 2 days in a row. So obviously you can take those breaks, but it encourages you to still work hard and to keep going, basically, right? But my point is you have these standards where they don't necessarily need to be on the exact same track and same path as you, but they need to align with you and they need to match and help bring you up instead of dragging you down.
Exactly.
And Ariana Grande actually has a song, Warm, which you've never heard it. I feel like all the girly pops have heard it.
Yeah.
But
I listened to Sleep Token.
Yeah, different jutes and whatever. But she says, I'm cool on my own up here, but I'm warmer in your arms. Yeah. Somebody who's coming into your life should add value.
Exactly.
And should make it better, not take you down a few notches.
Literally. And 2 things in response to that. 1, you are the standard. That's what I was saying. You have cultivated the standard for yourself and you follow that standard. 2, you don't need anyone disrupting your peace. That's the biggest thing, right? It's like if you've already become the standard in which you want to be, why would you want to let anybody bring you down? Like you don't need a man disrupting your peace or a woman if you've like already been there, right? And I had a thought to say to this because I think a lot of people see an attractive person. Remember we were talking about this? People see an attractive person who takes care of themselves, they're in a good physique, they're very successful or whatever, and they automatically think, what shady shit did you do to get there? Or you're probably a bad person, or you'll probably cheat on me. Like it's this influx of insecurities, right? That just come with someone being attractive, especially if you don't also feel like you're up to bat with a person like that. And it's funny because I say to Steph, I'm like, you're a very attractive person. You work out. You are successful.
She's my biggest hype woman.
I am. But it's like, I'm comparing it to like, if you saw someone walking down, like for instance, we saw this guy walking down a street in Toronto and we both like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Exactly. We both turn around and like automatically, like, cause he was like so good looking and he was like dressed really well. He was walking with probably a business partner. And I'm sure the thought that came to our head was like, he's hot, but he's probably a douche or he's probably like with someone, right? Like it's like, you don't think that maybe he's just a nice, normal person and he also is the standard for himself and that's why he's taking care of himself. Like, if you exist and you do that for yourself, there's probably 100 million other people that also do that for themselves, right?
Or just a few, even if it's not 100 million. Like,
exactly. But it's like, if you can do that and if you exist and you want to be your own standard, then there's probably another person who's another guy or girl or whoever that also works hard on themselves, not to impress someone else, but impress themselves, right? You have to be your own biggest hype woman. And I just watched a Mel Robbins podcast with Chelsea Handler, and she literally said in her book, she like, I'm going to paraphrase because I didn't read the book, but I've heard it. And she said, like, I became my own daughter, my own mother, my own biggest cheerleader, and like all of this stuff. She's like, I became that person for myself. I don't need anyone to do that for me. And I've told you before, a man shouldn't come into your life and complete you. You should already be whole on your own. I think someone said that in an interview, but you should already be whole on your own, and a man should add value to your life. If they're taking away value from your life, they're not your man. Like,
and can I also just say that?
Say it.
I just want to say, I understand what it's like to be with somebody who is toxic.
Yup.
And traumatic.
Yup.
I understand that there's a comfortability in knowing that, because you know what's coming. It's not good, but you know what's coming.
Yup.
It's predictable enough. I understand what it's like to live every single day feeling so anxious, like you can't breathe, and not wanting to tell anybody about it. One, the people closest to you, whether you tell them or not, they see it. They're just staying nearby to support. And two, you're going to have so much peace, and you're going to actually feel like you can breathe again when you get out of it. And finding another person, because it's comfortable and it's toxic and you're familiar with it, is going to do anything but good for you.
Exactly.
It's going to create more anxiety. You're not going to be happy. It's going to hold you back.
Absolutely.
And it is so much better. I know it's scary to be alone, and it's scary to be single and feel like, when is my person going to come? Are they ever going to come? Is anybody meant for me? Am I being too picky? At least I'm not going to bed crying at night. I'm good. Sometimes it's lonely, but I'm fine with where I'm at. I'm working on myself. I'm putting so much time and energy into myself right now because I don't have somebody to share that with. My love, I share it with my friends and family.
Exactly.
When my person comes, I'll be ready for them. I'll be prepared for them. I'm not searching. I'm not like crying about not having somebody. It is what it is. And I'm good. I'm at peace with myself.
Yeah.
I'm protective of my peace because I don't want to especially, and then when you get to this point, when you've worked so hard to protect your peace and you've worked so hard to get to like healed and grown from so much, the last thing you want to do is let anybody disturb that.
Absolutely.
Friendships, family members, relationships, coworkers, anybody.
And you are too busy filling up your own cup.
Absolutely.
You don't need someone else draining your cup and also overfilling your cup to the point where you spill. And like in relation to that, right? And the comfortability of being with someone, even if they're toxic or not good for you, it's honestly, sometimes it's easier to leave and harder to stay. And I know you want that, but I said this like...
Or it's just as hard, but again, choose your hard.
Literally choose your hard, because in the long run, you guys are going to end anyway.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
I'm sorry to say, like, if you are already having all of these issues, either really, if you really love this person and they're not toxic, it's just like the wrong place in your life, separate so that they can heal on their own. And it's not fair to you. To anyone who's like in a relationship that's like, I don't know if this is for me, it probably isn't for you.
If you're questioning it that much, if you're receiving that many signs, and we've talked about this before, where whatever you believe in, if it's the universe or God or whoever it might be, God will keep giving you the same sign over and over and over again until you learn that lesson.
Exactly.
And you move on from it. I also saw a quote on TikTok that said, people can change, but not that quick and not that fast.
Yeah.
If you are with somebody and it is not working out, and then you break up for a week or 2 weeks, even a month, that is not enough time for all of your problems to resolve themselves. And I've said this to Mar so many times before, but I feel like there's a line, and I learned this years ago. There becomes a line where once it's crossed, I really truly believe you can't go back from it.
No.
And you build this resentment, and it's like every time somebody does something to you where it's hurtful or it harms you or it makes you upset, they're filling up this little cup inside of you of just resentment. There's a line. to when it's like full resentment.
It's that overspill, right?
It's the overspill. And they keep adding to it every single day. And once you overspill that, it's like the lid shuts and it becomes solid in you. And even if you go 3 years without talking to that person and you've healed and you've done so much work on yourself and you've forgiven that person, the second they start speaking again, it will re-trigger that resentment inside of you, and you will not forgive them for anything. They could do the smallest thing and not actually mess up, and they could fully change, but you yourself are going to struggle to be okay with them because you had built so much resentment towards them.
And I'm happy you said that, because this actually links to, I had a friend, and like this was like I was growing up, I was in high school, and we were like me and Steph are close. We were exactly the same in high school. And honestly, back in the day, I don't know her now, but she was toxic as all hell. And now I can look back and say like, wow, that was honestly a toxic relationship that we were in. Anyway, we kind of ended, and it was like a really bad ending. But a year and a half later, she like hit me up again. And I literally like had to say, I'm like I was already well past the situation, but I literally said to her, let's not open this can of worms again. It was tough because I was
you put a boundary.
Yeah, I put up a boundary, but also it's like, I know we had good times, but you've done something where I lost all respect for you, and you can't get respect back. No. Respect has to be earned, and that takes honestly a long time. But also, if it's gone, that's nearly impossible to respect someone again, because I don't know about you, but it takes a lot for someone to lose my respect.
Yeah.
And if you do, there's no chance. Like at a comeback for that.
Because when people show you who they are, you take that at face value. And I've said this to so many people in my life.
You said that to me.
I've said that to you. Yeah. It is not your responsibility to read somebody's mind.
No.
You can try to understand them. You can sit there and listen and try to understand where they're coming from, but it is not your responsibility to read their mind.
Yeah.
What they show you, what they're presenting to you, how they are speaking to you, that is what you take at face value. If you see that they could work on themselves, or maybe they don't mean what they're saying, they're still saying it to you. They're still making that conscious decision to say what they're saying to your face. Yeah. So take it for what it is. They're saying that to you. That's who they want to be right now. It is their responsibility to work on themselves. It's your responsibility to work on yourself. Take what they are giving you at face value.
Exactly.
And at this big grown age, you need to be able to communicate to somebody how you are feeling.
Exactly. And don't let anyone's unhealed trauma affect the way you see yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like that is like the biggest
100%.
thing, because it's like people all have baggage. People have all gone through things. And actually, like, I dated someone and he was just not in the right state of mind. Great person, but he kept putting his insecurities and problems onto me. And we dated for a really long time. And I literally, like, I snapped. And I was like, quit putting your fear and your insecurities on me to justify why you're not better in your life.
Absolutely.
That is not my problem. And you sometimes, whenever you're so overwhelmed, you just want someone to blame. It's so much easier than taking accountability.
People who have a lot of insecurities will project themselves onto you.
Yeah.
And they don't want to take any sort of accountability for their actions. And it is easier to blame somebody else. And I think everybody's always done that, where they make a mistake. And I've even done that, where I've been irritated and my own parents will say something to me and I kind of snap on them. There was one day where I laugh at it. This isn't necessarily an insecurity, but it gives an example where I was so irritated this one day and my dad did nothing to me, nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And I snapped on him for no good reason. And I felt so bad immediately after, but I knew that I was in a bad headspace. Yeah. So I fully put myself in timeout. I walked away. I put myself in a different room. I locked myself away because I knew I was not in the right mindset to be talking to somebody in that moment, because I was so frustrated about other stuff and I knew I was going to project. So I took myself out of the situation. Yeah. I walked away. I cooled off. I probably ate some food to comfort me. Yeah. I moved on because I knew that I would project. And I think a lot of times when people are really insecure and they're not self-aware, it's almost like they don't have the capacity in that moment to say, oh, I'm projecting. But that's why it's so important to be self-aware, because you need to be able to understand when you are being triggered by something and that's why you're lashing out, or you're insecure and that's why you're projecting.
You literally have free will. You walked away because you knew you like this situation wasn't good for you. Like, you know what I mean? Because of your mental state or whatever it was. But also, I find people who project all the time their insecurities, that can't take accountability. When someone does something, like slights them a little bit, like maybe that person was just so sick of their shit and like said something, the person who's like been insecure, who's been kind of the problem the whole time, will literally be like, will hang on to the one time you slighted them, and they'll like run with it. Well, you did that. You did that day.
And it's like, we moved on from that.
Exactly. And it's like, okay, but you do this every single day.
Yeah.
And back to standards, it's like, if you have someone in your life where like we're speaking and you are like, oh wait, I know someone like that, or like my partner is like that. Girl, it's not going to get better. Like, you need to give it some time. Like, you need to give them some time to heal.
No, and the more and more you allow somebody to do that, the more and more they're going to push the threshold of what they can do.
Because they're putting their own baggage on you, and it's not your job to heal somebody else's baggage.
No, and it's not your responsibility to be somebody's punching bag. Honestly, and I think a lot of times we do that, where you really care for somebody, you really love somebody, and they're going through a really difficult time, so they take it out on the good thing in their life.
Yeah.
And you sit there and say, you know what, I'm strong enough to take this right now, so I will be your punching bag.
Yeah.
Take it out on me. Give it to me. Give your pain to me. But then that person takes advantage of that.
Yeah.
And there are people where you can say that and maybe they will release their pain in that second, but then say, no, like, I have this great thing in front of me. I'm going to work on myself and do better. But there's a difference between that type of person and the person who says, oh, okay, they're giving me the okay to be mean to them.
Exactly. Also, one thing I learned in therapy is boundaries. Yeah, exactly. Putting up a boundaries, because that actually applies a lot in friends. I think a lot of friends push those boundaries a little bit, because it's like, okay, well, they're like my sister, and like, you know, whatever. It's like everybody's going through something, and you have to be open-eared to every single person. But also, I learned in therapy too, you're not the bad guy for asking what you want and demanding a boundary. You're not the bad guy. If you can't handle someone's mental health right now because you're going through your own shit, that doesn't make you the bad guy. It doesn't matter how many people paint you to be that way. You are not the problem. If you continuously deal with other people's shit all the time, like if I were always going to you complaining about the same thing every single day, and I didn't do anything to get out of it, you're not my therapist. You know what I mean? There's a difference between listening to someone and being there as much as you can be there, and literally like giving them practically pills for them to like fix themselves. You are the only person that can fix yourself. You're the only person who can dictate your self-worth, and you are the only person that can up your standard.
Absolutely.
There's literally no one in this entire world is coming to save you, and you have to identify what that standard is for yourself, and you have to chase that.
You are the only person responsible for yourself, and even if you have your support circle, which you should, and you should prioritize them. Reference one of the last episodes, being in your 20s part 2. The people in my circle, everyone is going to eventually, we're getting older, like your family members are going to, like, siblings are going to get into relationships where they're building their own family. Your parents will grow old. Your friends will get into their relationships and probably spend majority of their time with them and start growing their families as well. Everyone will be there for you to support you if they are a part of your circle. Yeah. But you have to prioritize yourself. And just because you're alone or just because you're single doesn't mean that there's no hope for you, because you are your biggest strength. And I wrote this to myself because every few years I'll write like a letter to my future self. And I read the one that I wrote to myself when I turned 26. And I wrote it when I was, I think, 20, maybe even younger.
Long time ago.
Yeah. And actually, I think I was a little bit older than 20. I think I was 23. So 3 years later, I forgot what I wrote. And I opened it up and I wrote, I'm sick and tired of being my own worst enemy. Because you can be your own worst enemy or you could be your biggest hero. So choose which one you want to be. Yeah. Because you have the capability, like you said, you have free will to go down any path you want.
Literally.
Why would you choose the worst one? Are you choosing it because it's easy and if you're scared of failing so you can say, well, I didn't try anyways?
Yeah.
Is that why you're doing it?
The brass coin.
The brass coin.
Yeah.
But why not at least try? And if you fail, you fail, but at least you tried.
And also, and Mel Robbins said the confidence in her definition is literally the ability and the will to try. Even without like fail and stuff like that. And personally, I think when you raise your standards, you attract people who have high standards. And how great of a feeling is that to fall into the category of a high valued person?
Yeah.
Like, how amazing does that feel? Because imagine someone with low standards looks at you and says, I can get that person. Mm-hmm. Would you not be embarrassed that someone who like has really low standards that's not up to par with you goes up to you and is like, hey, like, so like I was thinking of taking you on a date. Would you not feel a little bit like, do I come off as someone who is giving low standards? And I know that sounds like dickish to say, but it's the truth. Like, if someone in a suit and tie who you knew was like a high valued person, an important person, someone who took care of themselves, came up to you at the bar, would you not be like more inclined to talk to them? Yeah. Especially with the way that you look and you present yourself.
There's a feeling of pride.
Exactly. But if some sluggish 4.2 out of 10 who was literally across the bar, like, comes up to you, what?
That reminds me, I saw a TikTok and it killed me. I don't even want to put this king down, but it was a picture of this guy, and picture however you want the man to look like, but let's just say it wasn't his best photo.
Okay.
And he posted this picture and he said, on my way to Hinge to ruin all of these baddies' days, because how many times have you heard a 10 out of 10 girl saying, I hate Hinge because all of these slug men like me, and it brings down my confidence. And I saw that TikTok and it actually just killed me because I was like, what a king. And then people in the comments were like, can we match?
No, but that's actually so funny and iconic.
Because he has personality.
Yeah, personality. That's the other thing. But it's true. It's like, realistically, like, if you have high vibrations and if you are a high valued individual, you will also attract people like that. And I always say a doctor will never date a drug dealer. Like, a doctor will never surround themselves with people that would, like, especially because doctors and, you know, high valued individuals and extremely intelligent individuals, that's not their circle.
No.
Like, they do not surround themselves with people that are, I don't want to say less than what, like, you know, all the work that they put in, but it's kind of true. Mm-hmm. It's like, and also take me and you, like, I would say me more because like you've kept your friend group, but like I've outgrown a lot of people because at one point in my life I was a 4.2 slug. Like in the sense of like, I just didn't really, I didn't have self-respect. I didn't have standards. I really didn't look at myself with confidence. I didn't like, you know, and that took a lot of work for me to get there. But whenever you kind of enter these stages of your life where you're upping your standards day by day, month by month, people start falling off. Mm-hmm. And you're like, you kind of question it. You're like, why don't I have as many friends as I used to have? You upped your standards.
And they've capped themselves.
They have.
Picture you and all the people you're growing up with are plants, and you're watering yourself, you're getting sunlight for yourself, you're doing all these good things for yourself. Everyone around you has the capability to do the exact same thing as you, but they cap themselves. They think, oh, I'm good here. I don't want to put any more work in. I've grown enough. I've done some stuff. I'm good. I'm fine. I don't want to move. But you want to keep growing. Eventually, you grow so tall that you're in the clouds and you can't see anyone below you because they've capped themselves, and only the people who've put in the same work are going to be on that level with you.
Exactly.
One of the last few things I want to say is the author Thomas Erickson, one of his books, he wrote that trust has a limited shelf life. And what he meant by that is every day in a relationship, you should be working on building that trust with that person.
Yeah.
And you might trust somebody 100%, and that's okay, but every day they should be doing something to show that. I'm not saying they're doing something physical to show that you should trust them.
Yeah.
But every day they are making the mindful decisions to show that you can trust them.
Exactly.
And that is a standard that you should have. And I think that applies into so many different aspects, not just trust, but even respect and
be loyal to them.
Loyalty.
Loyalty is huge.
So yeah, trust, respect, loyalty, all of those qualities. Again, they're not making a hardcore physical move that you can say, oh, that's why I trust that person, or that's why I'm loyal to them, or they're loyal to me, or whatever it might be, or that's why I respect them. Yeah. But every single day, they have you in their mind, they're prioritizing you, and you're working on the relationship, because relationships aren't easy and life isn't easy, and we are constantly growing and evolving, so your relationship should be too. And
yes,
it does have a shelf life. Just because you trust somebody 100% doesn't mean that if they stop trying and they stop prioritizing you, then they can make mistakes. They can slip up.
Yeah.
And that's why every day you make the mindful decision to be there for your person.
Yes. And like that's a huge standard, like trust in somebody and loyalty and all of that stuff. Another big, like a closing point. Please, for the love of God, if you're going to date someone who's emotionally mature. Mm-hmm. Like that is like me and Steph, we went to Boston and both Steph and I we're pretty calm people. Like we were about to miss our flight and she was saying how like if she went with someone else, that person would be catatonic, like where it would stress you out even more. Mm-hmm. But because I'm calm and I was like, no, we'll be fine. Everything is fine.
Yeah.
You need my standard at least is to date someone who has emotional maturity and can control their emotions. My mom, I want to end off this podcast with the analogy that my mom said yesterday. She said, whenever you are overwhelmed, picture all of your thoughts as grains of sand and you have them in your palm. And eventually, like you keep, like your palm constricts, whatever, you keep squeezing that thing. Where's the sand going to go? It wants to escape, right? Because it's like literally there's no room anymore left and you're just going to explode. You're never going to have any sand left, literally. And it's like, that is your thoughts. It's like you are just spilling all of this stuff because you can't control that grain of sand and just leave your palm open. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like,
you're suffocating yourself.
And look if you're suffocating yourself, how's any air going to go in there? But if you keep your palm open, camera died. Right on my good analogy.
We said we were going to keep this one short. We kept rambling.
Anyway, the sand, you understand.
It's a great analogy.
The sand, you understand.
Oh, wait, okay.
Don't be an overthinker. That's all. And raise your standards.
Raise your standards. Anyways, great analogy to end this off.
And yeah, keep your standards high and...
There's nothing else to say.
There's
but just
literally nothing else to say.
Have standards. And keep them high.
Yeah, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Good morning.